After reading Susan Cain's Quiet, I looked at myself a little differently as we started talking about introverts, extroverts, and ambiverts, and where exactly I lied on that spectrum. As I began to think about it, I felt myself somewhere between ambivert and extrovert, and I break this down as you can see most of the pictures that you see me in, I'm with a group of people. I don't like taking pictures of just myself. Although I'm very outgoing, I found myself a little more subtle when it came to my job. I started off in TV, but then moved myself from TV, now working at radio. And I found myself noticing that I was much more comfortable behind the mic and not just in front of the camera. While I can do both, I am much more comfortable being behind the mic. As we look at Quiet, many of the quotes throughout the book really helped me feel as if I found myself right between ambivert and extrovert. On page 4 of Cain's book, the omnipresent belief that the ideal self is gregarious, alpha, and is comfortable in the spotlight. As you could see, this kind of brings about where, being in media, you do enjoy some of the spotlight. But it is also very different because you're not in the spotlight. You may just be reporting about people in the spotlight. I look at people who are ultra extroverts. In sports, someone like Odell Beckham Jr., very outspoken, likes to enjoy the spotlight. Someone who might be an ambivert, such as Tom Brady, who is out there and is very honest with his opinions, but tends to stay back and not jump out and be a part of the spotlight all the time. I found this interesting in reading Quiet on page 4 as well, the quote that, "We like to think we value individuality, but all too often we admire one type of individual, the kind who's comfortable putting himself out there." I agree with this because, as you can see throughout this video, that people who tend to put themselves out there more, they tend to get noticed more. Let's take a look at just this presidential race. You can see many people backing Donald Trump because he puts himself out there. He's very in your face, as opposed to a Hillary Clinton, who can say what she means, but isn't as outgoing or forceful as a Donald Trump. One of my other quotes that I like in Quiet comes on page 36. Cain describes that when she went to a movie, that the person giving her the ticket says, quote, "People who sit in the front rows are generally more successful. They tend to have more energy," which I've never seen this going to many movies like I normally do, but it's very different to actually think about it and actually notice people who tend to talk a little more when they're closer to the screen, or people who tend to sit in back because they don't want to be noticed. All of these quotes and different ideas that I noticed help me determine that I am well between the extrovert and ambivert phase. I tend to be very outgoing. When I'm comfortable, I tend to talk much more than when I'm not. I felt that and noticed that when I was moving away from home and realized that you felt a little bit more uncomfortable in the beginning. But once you got comfortable again, my real self came out. I think this book was chosen so that we could look at ourselves a little differently and find out who we really are. Are we the person we thought we were in high school? Or have we changed and actually grown up to see a little bit broader? This book definitely made me look at myself a little differently and where exactly I want to go with my career. I'm now not afraid to make these commitments and jump into a larger path. Thank you for listening. I'm Brian Mariano.